So we humans have a multiple of needs. What is it? That's the word I'm thinking of. Multiple needs. We have needs for connection. We have needs for touch. We have needs for intimacy. We have needs for, I mean, again, there's a huge spectrum. And also there's the part where people are looking for simple platonic connection. People are looking for healing sexual trauma, sexual stuff. People are looking for, simple sexual arousal and all of that. So like there's a huge gamut of what's people are looking for. And often as a professional cuddler, people will come to me and I hear this also from other practitioners, that people are coming with all of their requests, like what's possible, I like this, I like to do that. And within the professional cuddling, it's platonic. And I have many of you as clients who reach out to me and saying, listen, I met somebody in my city and they do cuddling, but they also do these other services. And that could be, from MLM, kind of like multi-level marketing, where they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to encourage their other businesses, or maybe they're massage therapists, or maybe they're tantrikas, or like they do tantra, or they have, again, they've gone to school, they've studied the things, they feel really knowledgeable. Maybe they're life coaches. I'm a life coach. So like I know that many of us who do this work, we have many skills that we can offer many of you, and it can get really confusing. And so I have a lot of compassion right now for the link that I posted with this video in the description. There's a woman out in Arizona who had a double container with a client who had a client as a cuddle client, and then as that client looks like they were communicating their other needs and that were of more of a sexual healing kind of stuff, of course the practitioner felt like and I totally get this, like they felt comfortable like saying, well, we can work on those things, right? Like I think a lot of us that do this work, we really care. Like we really want to see people holistically cared for, loved, and it's easy for us to go into like, well, how can I support you with this other side of yourself that's there? And at the same time, we are bound to a code of conduct. If we're doing a professional cuddling service, we have a code of conduct that's very clear around, even like clothing, what we can and can't wear. Around intention, we have the code that says the intention needs to not be arousing. Even if clothes stays on, it's still the intention of we are creating a platonic container, not something that's basically teasing. And I always think, like, who wants that? Like, who wants to come into a session and just be teased the whole time? It's miserable. But I want to provide some compassion in this story for us to both sides. The practitioner who heard a client with needs, with requests, and the practitioner saying, I want to support you. And here's where it gets really tricky. If you read the article, the client alleges that the practitioner told her, hey, what if we do this stuff that's outside of our code, outside of the container? I don't want you to tell anybody. That's not safe. That's really difficult. And yeah. So there's a few things that I want to touch on. Of course, you can read the article, learn more about what happened. Again, know that my heart goes out to both the parties. It's really difficult navigating people's requests or needs and as how we respond. And so here we are. Maybe you're a practitioner, or maybe you know of somebody who does pro cuddling, who does other things as well. What I want to encourage you, that if you do other things, even if it's like massage therapy or Reiki, or you're a life coach, or whatever it is that you do, and again, I'm going to make myself guilty here because I have not done this. There needs to be forms. There needs to be a closing the container. We are no longer doing this, and we're going to do something else. Maybe you do tantra. Maybe you do intimacy work. Maybe you do sexological work. I personally work with a sexologist, and I am their like body person, and so I can work with, they do the talk stuff and I can do the cuddling and do, and again in that different container working with a talk therapist or talk person, I can do things with that specialist. And so again, there's having the clarity around, this is not a professional cuddling session, period. Like, we're closing that container and we're going to open up something completely different. And do whatever you need to do. But I think, again, I'm saying guilty as charged because I don't have my papers and my, stuff either. Like, a lot of us, there aren't models for how to do this. And so again, my heart goes out to a practitioner in Arizona who, again, it's easy for us to fall into this. The other thing I think is really important is when we're in a session with a client, let's say you have other skills, like you're amazing Reiki or you're amazing at like life coaching or whatever. The client came into the session with the intention of getting Platonic touch, like to do the Platonic work. They did not come to be therapized, right? Psychologicalized, whatever, like to do mind work. They're not there to do energy work. They came there for a particular purpose. And I really want to encourage, I know how hard this is. And I think we all mix our containers, so this is difficult, but just letting clients know ahead of time when they walk into a session, you may get, let them know, I do energy work as well. Is that something that you would like in the session? But do it before the session begins. I'm a life coach. Would you like to, when things come up, would you like us to discuss things? Or would you like me not to? Like the things that are still within the Platonic realm, I think it's cool, as long as you make sure that client knows that is a possibility. If your items, stuff are outside of our code of conduct, which means you do massage. Again, I've had clients say, hey, would you be willing to give me a massage? And I'm like, well, massages are kind of difficult with clothing on. They're like, oh, no, but like, can I take my shirt off? Again, something is, benign as taking your shirt off. You think, well, there's no big deal. But it actually violates our code of conduct. No shirts come off, even if it's just a back rub. Right? So if that client, if you say you do massage therapy, and that's like a big part of your business, and you do professional cuddling, you'd have to close that cuddle container saying, this is ending, we'll finish this, and then we'll open up another container, which is massage, keeping them completely separate. You cannot combine them. So what ended up happening with the practitioner in Arizona is that she had her certification revoked through Cuddlist because of this action. The client did go to meet the media and went to this certifying board. And as you can see in the article, the practitioner had her nipple in the client's mouth for 5 minutes. And again, I get the intention of what the practitioner is trying to do there. There was a specific need for sexual healing there, but it was still within a cuddle container. I have to close that. And luckily I'm grateful that like the authorities are like, there's nothing illegal happened here, but it is a sexual misconduct. It's not fair to the client. So for you clients, I just want to tell you, buyer beware. Please do your research on who you choose to hire for your professional cuddling. If it is somebody who has not had any kind of training, they just put up a website, or they're on one of the websites that don't require any training, know that you may be sold other goods. I know that there are clients that are looking for that, right, within the cuddle world, and I'm so worried that authorities are going to shut down cuddling because extra things are being sold. That's not how we want the industry to look or to be experienced. We want all practitioners to follow a sense of like the Platonic container. Again, closing that and opening something else, making sure it's clear to the client that this is no longer a cuddle session, is extremely important. And again, I recommend forms and documents for that. Lastly, with this client in the story, in the session, it looked like things went really well. And then afterwards, it's when the client realized, oh gosh, that didn't go as well I would have liked, or that wasn't right for me. Trauma looks really different to each person, and there are at least 4 responses to trauma. We have the typical fight or flight, which again, most people know what that is, how we respond to a really stressful situation, but there is also freeze and fawn. And that's why it's really difficult to trust clients. If a client is very like, what is it, agreeing, and like a yes, and if I say, let's try this and let's try that, and I'm the one that's coming up with the things. Again, it's a big, huge no-no, but I'll explain that in a second. If a client is being very agreeable, that does not mean that they're a yes. That could also be a trauma response where they felt like they can't say no. And I also often will mention to my clients the value of saying no to me. And that is really difficult. Most people have a hard time telling people no. And especially when they come to a session with me. So really important for all practitioners and for clients, and this may be a headache for many of you who come see a cuddlist, is that the client must ask for what they want. The client must say, I would like you to hold me like this. And they verbalizing it, I'd like, this to happen, or could we get into this position? Again, many clients don't know what to ask for. So again, that's frustrating. And I don't know what's possible. I don't know what to do. So I provide, resources for my clients to kind of figure things out before they show up with me. But the value of that is that, again, I don't know what you're coming with. I don't do a huge intake around PTSD, trauma, childhood trauma, all of the things. So I don't know. So I'm hoping that you come being able to verbalize what you want. So again, it's not on me. Because if it comes back to me and me having to be making those suggestions and doing this and that, it can get complicated if you're the kind of person that can't tell me no or can't speak up for yourself. And it could go into a trauma response. Or people freeze. And I also do a session where I do design the session, but it's based on an additional evaluation. But yeah, this was a really hard story, and again, I'd love to hear your comments. If you've seen this, it's all over the place. The Daily Mail, The Sun, the USA Today. Again, I have lots of compassion and love for both the client and the practitioner, just hoping that they can be healing for both of them. And we just need to do better about this kind of stuff. So, love y'all. Take care.